Hello YouTube, this is ThomastheSmallEngine here with another video this week. I'm sure many of you might have seen the title card and thought, we were expecting your Season 2 review and got this instead. Well, I have some news on that. I did officially break my every Friday motto last time. When I was making my Season 1 review, I had everything filmed and I thought the editing would take 1 or 2 days, but instead it took me 6. Probably should have seen it coming. So I released that video as soon as I could, but it wasn't on time. Then that next week I took a fishing trip and now I'm back. The Season 2 video is almost ready, but I'm giving myself more time, so expect that one next Friday. Onto this video. As you figured out from the title, this is my load I got for my birthday, June 4th, which I discovered is the same as Lewis from Thomas Tank Merch. Happy birthday to you too. And yes, I'm uploading this the 5th, but it's being filmed today on the 4th. So what did I get? First thing I got was this Brio Thomas. Brio being the other brand that made wooden train sets. For a few years in the late 90s, they made some of their own models of the Thomas characters, which were pretty different from their learning curve counterparts. These were sold only in the UK. My particular one is dated 1996, if the camera will focus, which is the first year these were out. Some usual characteristics of the Brio model are the red running board and the face being near perfect. As a Thomas model, the shape is generally the same as what we're used to. It captures all of the usual details of a Thomas model, minus the coal strip, which is a bit of a drawback. The color is nice, and the red running board complements it very well. The face is a wonderful match for Thomas, and the wheels are cheap Brio wheels, what do you expect? But I'm not too off-put by the chassis. The front magnet confuses me a little, as it doesn't really seem to have much of a point for being smaller. It does still work, but it's a little weaker. Oh well. Overall, as a Thomas model, I think it is very good. But I have to wonder, what would the thought have been back in the 90s? Back then, the main learning curve models looked like these. So at the time, collectors might have thought this was an interesting Thomas model, but unacceptably huge. Nowadays, we're all used to Thomas models that were that big, so giving it a fair chance through the lens of nostalgia, I am very satisfied with this Thomas. It's not going to become the one I prefer and use in my series, but I like it a lot. And I was happy to break into the Brio line, since, other than Monique, I don't really have any Brio models. A Brio Percy is on the way though. The next one I got is Whiff. That's it. It's just Whiff. Slightly used and the glasses are partially rubbed off. Why would I get this? I've never seen a Whiff episode. The only impression I have of him is Misty Island Rescue, which is no favor to any character. So why on earth would I get this? Well, let's move on. To a Take and Play Ryan. I'm not a Take and Play collector or even an Ertl collector, aside from one 10 cents. I stick to Thomas Wooden Railway. So why'd I get this? Well, look at the two together. Ask yourself, does that remind you of anything? Have these two been used for any project that some other user has done before? Yep, coming soon. Comment if you think you know the answer. Next I have a new in-box Thomas Wood Ashima. I didn't know whether to get this because it's Thomas Wood. I know many might have moved on from this, but since I was out of the community for 2 years, I'm still used to some of the tropes that were used back then, such as the Welcome Stanley meme. And in this case, particularly the boycotting on Thomas Wood. I didn't care what anybody else did, but I wasn't going to buy it. However, since they did make an improvement on Thomas Wood so that it's not unpainted garbage anymore, I decided this one I was okay with. Yes, I broke my vow. primarily because it's better than the old version. Both of these have the problem of Ryan syndrome. Went from Ryan to Ashima to the whole Thomas Wood range. They're all just too short, like Thomas. But one other thing about the new one is the detailing has improved. Ashima had a lot of nicely painted detail on her, and the original wooden railway model was lacking a little. This newer one isn't perfect, but it makes some of it stand out more. They have a design around the non-existent dome, some detailing to the front, and the wheels are a more accurate and prettier shade of blue. It's not super great, but it's a nice improvement. I'm glad to have it. As for whether this will be my replacement Ashima in my series, well, my big problem with her is the eyes. The first model had much bigger eyes, and as you can see here, that fits Ashima's look and personality much better. So I have mixed opinions on this new one, though the rest of her face is fine. The last thing I got for my birthday that I'll show here was a small selection of LEGO figures. In getting ready for my series, you can all see I've gotten better material than just a green piece of cardboard. And in digging through my Legos, I found this figure here, but I needed some more, so I got all of these to mix and match and create a few characters. So I think this is gonna work just fine. And those all together were the lot I got from this very special day. There were, of course, other things I got that weren't Thomas related, but this is all I wanted to show you. Thomas always has and always will mean a lot to me, even though I'm one day older than I was yesterday. Hope all of you out there stay happy too.